Hey everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Behind me is a 2001 Subaru 2.5 RS, the Impreza, kind of like the pre-WRX. Yeah, the performance model, no turbo, but it goes pretty well. 260,000 miles on it. And what we're doing today, the right front lower ball joint has, is loose. Okay. Erico did a video on Subaru Balljoints, and he also came up with a tool to get them out of the knuckle. Okay, so his tool, when you have the car way up on a lift, you screw it on to the ball joint, use a slide hammer, it comes out of the knuckle. However, if you don't have a big lift and you don't have any clearance, what do? Well, here's my situation. Here's the ball joint. Now the pinch bolt. If you saw Eric's video, he takes a very long, diligent time torching this bolt to heat it up and just carefully trying to loosen it until it breaks free. Again, I'm like, oh, Pennsylvania, it's not as bad as New York. It'll come right out. Put an impact on it, moved a little bit, or so I thought. Put a breaker bar. Was trying to be careful. Nope. Head snapped clean off. So now I had a seized bolt with no head, and you get into tricks. I got the whole knuckle off since we're going to do it on the bench just to be safe. We don't want to worry about torching the CV boot or the brake lines or whatever. What I did first was try to weld a blob on, where I broke that head off the bolt. I heated this up real nice with a torch. The blob broke right off. That wasn't going anywhere. Next step was to drill as centered as possible right through the bolt. And I think I did a pretty good job. So this used to be in there. And look at that. So I drilled that out. And as soon as the drill bit got to this depth, I took an angle grinder, this guy with a cutoff wheel, it just went clean through, right through the bolt, and cut through it. So now the bolt was basically two halves: this seized threaded part in here, and the remaining part of the smooth part of the bolt that was seized in this part of the knuckle. So then you take a punch, go through the hole here, boom, this half comes out. Next step was to get an easy out or a screw extractor. Now these are the Napa brand. I have had good luck with these. They're kind of four-sided knurled pieces, so I used the medium one. This guy hammered it in through the hole here, which was now free, right into this threaded part. Hammer, 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 little torque. I didn't want to snap it off because then it would be a whole nother can of worms. And luckily, this threaded part actually moved and it spun out. So now what we have is, I cleaned this out with a drill bit. That's all clean. You can see the ball joint itself now is, the only thing holding it in is rust. This is nice and open. There's no more bolt pinching it together. But you can see where the rust is holding this guy. And the service instructions just say, oh, just pull it out with your hand. Maybe in Texas or Arizona, not in the Northeast Salt Belt. No way. So now, what's the next step? How do we get the joint out of the knuckle? Well, you can use Eric's trick. If it's on the vehicle and you have a lift and you have a slide hammer, you can probably order a tool from him, from his Amazon store, and do it that way. It only takes a minute. You screw it on, the slide hammer hits it, pulls the joint out. However, we don't have that luxury right now. What we do have is some Harbor Freight adapters and the ball joint service kit. So my attempt here, I haven't tried this yet, is to take this little guy, get it over the joint, and then take an adapter from the ball or the wheel bearing removal kit, one that just, you know, fits over the cup, a couple washers here, and we basically want to use the existing nut right on the ball joint stud to pull this thing out. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to give it a try. I mean, you know, if you screw this in and we have a support here, you should try to pull the joint out. Maybe spray a little Kroil in the accessible areas and we'll put a little impact on here and see if this guy moves. Alright, so for good luck, why the heck not, 19mm socket, get a little nano on here, controlled, and see what happens. Well, do we see any progress? I think we do. This is fantastic. You see there's a little gap forming. The joint is being pulled out right out of the knuckle. There you go. And well, now the nut is kind of stuck on there because, well, for whatever reason, try to there we go. That's okay. So we have progress for sure. This joint is coming out. You can see this before this was flush. So now all we have to do is put some more spacers on there and finish the job. Well, slight complication here. The original nut is being stripped out and the stud is not looking too hot either. So it was pulling so hard and we got it started, but to finish the job here, man, see now it's all loose and sloppy on there. That's not good. What can we do from here? We could try the slide hammer trick or just an air hammer. You see separated up top here, but the bottom it's still flush. So maybe, well, let's try the air hammer. Why not? Well, here we go with the air hammer. So first I'm going to try to push this part back in. Actually, it is moving. So now we just have to go from different sides. Wow. And there you have it. One Subaru ball joint removed from the knuckle. Again, it can be a royal pain in the ass if you live in the Salt Belt. Reinstallation, we have to clean all this out, put some fluid film on there, and hopefully this will never happen again if it's properly lubed during installation. New pinch bolt. Here's the replacement 9513, and the Moog part does come with all the hardware that you need, including the new pinch bolt, which is really nice. So that's the new joint, and there's all the hardware. There's the bolt, nut. Awesome. Well, I won't bore you with the installation details, but again, I've never seen a Subaru ball joint go bad. Now this is my first time. Next time, that bolt, I don't know what. I mean, taking the knuckle off sure makes it a lot more accessible to work on it, you know, on the bench. But don't break the head off. Don't go. Don't get excited. Actually, this is a nut that I welded on, which snapped off the little blob. But again, if you get excited, you snap the head off, you're just making more work for yourself, and well, that's how you learn what the I guess the yield limit is of this little bolt. They could have made it a little thicker, but just a bad design, I think. But again, they don't go bad that often. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Just a little bonus footage how the new ball joint is supposed to go in almost by hand. So I got the hole all cleaned out, got some fluid film in there, and then we'll just go tap, tap, tap. I mean, that's it. It's in there. So all we need to do now is put the pinch bolt right through. It does come with a little lock ring. I assume that just goes right on there. 15 millimeter. That's it. One Subaru ball joint installed. We can look up the torque spec and torque this to factory, but I know it's tight. It's all good. Ready for installation. Job done.